Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to another exclusive Ringside mini podcast focused exclusively on New Japan Pro Wrestling and their G1 Climax tournament, which is currently ongoing. My name is John Neve. I cover all things New Japan Pro Wrestling for Ringside Geeks, and I am here today with my lovely co-host. As always, she is Monroe.
That's me.
And Monroe, we have a lot to cover on this episode. The G1 Climax month-long tournament has been going on for the past month. We are approaching finals weekend, and it's an exciting time to be a New Japan Pro Wrestling fan. So let's just get started by talking about some of the highlights, some of the things that we've enjoyed from this tournament thus far. What's stuck out to you, either performers or matches, moments, things that have really been highlights of this tournament for you so far?
Well, I think one thing that really stood out, and it kind of encompasses when it comes to my favorite matches or favorite individual wrestlers, it's just this tournament has really promoted the younger talent. We're used to Naito, Tanahashi, Omega, Okada. That's the go-to guys right there. Everyone knows that they lead this company, if you will.
Right.
But the people that have had the strongest G1 have not been those four. It's been Juice Robinson. It's been Evil. It's been Zack Sabre Jr. It's been Michael Elgin, and that's really stood out to me. They've each individually have had great matches. And you can obviously see their growth, especially in Juice Robinson and Michael Elgin. And just opportunities for people like Evil. It's been awesome for them. And I couldn't be happier because I'm a fan of the majority of those guys. And it's great to see people other than those main four guys that I mentioned earlier get, an opportunity.
Right. Yeah. So, you mentioned Evil. I know he's a favorite of both of ours. Mm-hmm. You want to talk a little bit about the match, Evil and Okada? I knew we were going to spend a lot of time on that one on this podcast.
Yeah.
Huge upset for Evil.
Oh my God.
The first guy to beat Okada in over a year. I think this is going to set him up for a championship title shot somewhere down the line. And it's exciting because, like I said, we're both big fans of Evil. And I think as far as LIJ is concerned, he is the standout member from LIJ right now, even including Naito. How do you feel?
Well, and like you said, we're both Evil fans. I'm an LIJ fan for sure. I know you are too. And I'm a huge Naito fan, but I don't know. I think you're right. Evil has been the guy in LIJ now, especially in this G1. Naito he got lost in the shuffle for a minute there. Right.
Yeah. We're gonna talk about disappointments later, but he definitely was someone I expected to excel in a tournament setting like this, and he didn't do it.
He didn't. No, I'm not sure why, but people like Evil really, really stood out.
Absolutely.
And I'm very happy for him because he's super talented. He's a hard worker. I'm so happy. I couldn't be happier for him. And when he beat Okada, it took probably later on that day for it to hit me, like, wait a minute, Okada lost a singles match.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because when it happened, I'm just like, wait, what? Because it was like, 5 a.m. or something like that. Am I awake?
I know.
So, yeah, and then first Juice beat Omega before that, and then here we go with Evil beating Okada. I'm like, are you kidding me? Because I was already complaining on Twitter about Okada beating Evil. I was already complaining.
Yeah, you were.
The match.
Guilty.
I know, right? And still, it's just so hard to believe that Evil was the one that beat Okada. Amazing. I couldn't be happier for the guy.
Any chance you think that they do some kind of maybe like they did a rift in the Bullet Club, between Cody and Omega? They did that kind of a tease. Any chance we see like a tease between Evil and Naito having a little bit of dissension?
Yeah, it could be. If not Naito, then maybe Sonata, because Evil and Sonata had a match against each other.
Right, very good match.
Night 1 maybe.
Yeah,
and
that was night 2, but yeah, definitely.
Night 2. Sorry, night 2.
B block night 1, but for sure.
And they did the fist bump or handshake or something towards the end, but there's a little hesitation there. So I don't know. It could be something there. It could be building towards some stress going on in LIJ, like the Bullet Club. I'm not sure, but Evil is that guy right now, and I couldn't be happier for him.
Likewise. You also mentioned Juice Robinson getting a big victory over Kenny Omega, and while that was his cornerstone for this tournament, and I honestly I don't expect him to beat Michael Elgin on the final B block night. I've got to talk a little bit about my guy Juice Robinson. Anybody who's been following me on Twitter or listening to the podcast on a weekly basis knows what a big fan of Juice Robinson I am. And I was thoroughly impressed with him in this tournament, and I should have expected it. For some reason, his name did not stand out to me before we entered this tournament, and I should have known because you want to go back to, I believe it was, I forget what show it was, where he main evented against Naito for the IC title. Was it Dantaku? No.
Could have been.
No, there was a show where he main evented against Naito, and he had an outstanding match. Juice Robinson took Naito to his limits and had one of Naito's better matches this year next to his match with Elgin. So, the one thing I really enjoyed about Juice in this tournament was he really sold the effects of the tournament well. I mean, this guy, you saw him whenever he would walk to the ring before the match even started. He was holding his neck, or he was limping a little bit. He was doing something to sell the effects like, this is a month-long tournament. I appreciate the fact that there's somebody who kind of brings to the attention of the fans, like, this is not easy. And it sells in, and it makes you believe, like, it's hard to get a win here. And it also adds to that element of, hey, anybody can win on any night, because you never know what injury someone's going to be carrying in. For example, we're going into Okada Omega B block final this weekend. Well, after Okada had that freaking MMA fight with Minoru Suzuki, he's going to be banged up, and I believe he's probably going to come in selling some sort of injury. And hell, after the shots he took from Suzuki, I wouldn't be surprised if he's really banged up, like, in real life, feeling the effects of this tournament. All these guys, it's not easy. So, little bit of a tangent there, but I really appreciate that from Juice Robinson, standout performer in this tournament. Another guy I think we should touch on, because we're kind of hanging around in the B block, is Zack Sabre Jr., who for me was the A block standout, if not for his submission victory over Tanahashi, Fale, and also Togi Makabe, the first guy in 11 years to tap out Togi Makabe. I know you're a big fan of Zack Sabre Jr. as well. Are you happy with his performance in his first G1 Climax?
Absolutely. I think he was one of those guys where it's Zack Sabre Jr., so you're going to get a good match. But when it came to this tournament, you kind of forgot about him. We have Omega, Okada, we have Naito, we have Juice Robinson.
Ibushi's coming back. Yeah, exactly.
Ibushi is coming back, and it's like Nagata's last tournament. But you forget, wait a minute, Zack Sabre Jr. is there. You forget that he's in the tournament. And all of his matches have been great.
Yeah, I agree. I forgot about his match with Ibushi. His match with Ibushi was fire. Love it.
Yes, it was. Very good. But yeah, man, I like you said, a huge fan of Zack Sabre Jr. He had a great G1. And
you brought up Yuji Nagata, his last G1. Let's just give a shout out to all the New Japan dads who were in this tournament. Nagata, Kojima. I don't know if you want to throw Ishii or Tanahashi in there, but definitely Nagata and Kojima. Nagata for his last G1. God, I really hope it's not his last G1 after seeing it, because he was one of the guys I looked forward to watching. His matches with Ishii, his match with Ibushi, solid, really good stuff, really fine storytelling. I think it was Tanahashi where they did this spot on the top rope where they were trading blows, and it was like Nagata was trying to hang on and prove himself one last time, and he just couldn't do it. That's the kind of stuff I really appreciate, and Nagata brought it. Same with Kojima. Kojima had a match against Kazuchika Okada, and I mean, it's not hard to have a great match with Okada, but they had one of my favorite matches of the entire tournament. and we'll get into that one a little bit later. So definitely shout out to the New Japan dads. How about disappointments, Monroe? What for you was, if it comes to booking or a performer, single performer wise, what was disappointing for you in this tournament?
Well, I'm gonna start single performer wise, and this may be kind of controversial or whatever, but Kota Ibushi. But we know we're both fans of Kota Ibushi. The guy is probably one of the best in the world.
Sure. Yeah.
In the ring, and I was really looking forward to him in this tournament. The first night, the match against Naito was amazing, and it got me excited for this tournament. Hell of a way to start it. But Ibushi got lost in the shuffle. I forgot he was even in the tournament because he got outshined by other matches and other wrestlers. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the matches that he had, like you mentioned, the one with Ishii, the matches he had were still good. Don't get me wrong. It's just, it got to a point where I seriously forgot he was in the tournament. And other people, I was focused on other people. They had my attention more. I was entertained a little bit more by them than Kota Ibushi. And I guess my expectations were really high. And he didn't leave a big enough impression. And, I really wanted Ibushi to shine in this G1 because, hey, it's Kota Ibushi. He's coming back. He's not out of the mask, big deal.
Sure.
And I just feel like, I don't know, I was a little let down, a little disappointed.
Well, for one, I'm sure hoping we don't go back to Tiger Mask W after this tournament's over. I hope he, because like you said, the matches really weren't that bad overall. But, I wrote a column for our mothership, Atomic Geekdom, and I wrote in particular about Kota Ibushi and how excited I was to have him back for this in particular, not under the Tiger Mask W guys, as Kota Ibushi. And yeah, he just kind of, I don't know, maybe part of me wants to think that my expectations were a little too high. And that match with Naito probably took a lot of gas out of these guys because, let's be honest, they pulled some stuff off in that match that was pretty ridiculous. And maybe it was like, well, we got to tone it down a little bit. I don't know what happened. But yeah, he just kind of got outperformed by some other guys. And, it's okay. I still expect big things from Kota Ibushi going forward. But yeah, definitely in this tournament, I wasn't too impressed. And then I gotta say, the guy he faced on the first night of the tournament, Tetsuya Naito, for me, Naito didn't really have another match that stood out to me aside from the match with Ibushi. I mean, don't get me wrong, there was some decent stuff in his tournament this year as a whole, and I'm sure the match with Tanahashi is going to be fine. But Naito's a guy I really expected, and again, I wrote a column about this. I really expected Naito to reach that potential because that's kind of been the story of Naito's career thus far, is that he's everybody knows how great of a wrestler he is, but he's never really put it all together. And he finally found this cool character with LIJ, and now he's got some stablemates, and he's, ungovernable. He's a radical. It's cool, and he just, I don't know. I feel like the pattern of his matches is the same each and every time. And when we talk about guys like Okada, which we're going to do, we're going to talk about guys like Omega. The one thing that's synonymous between those guys, they make their opponents better. They bring their opponents up to their level. And that's something I don't feel like Naito did in this tournament. I feel like he was wrestling at his opponent's level instead of bringing them to his level. And so for someone who is, entering one of the final nights of this tournament with a chance to make the final, I don't know how I feel. I'm hoping he turns it on. I expect him to turn it on. But yeah, definitely thus far for me personally, Tetsuya Naito with a bit of a disappointing G1. Okay, so let's get right down to the brass tacks. Let's talk about these two final matches that are going to determine the winners of the A block and the B block. We've got Friday night, Hiroshi Tanahashi taking on the aforementioned Tetsuya Naito of Los Ingobernables de Japón. And Saturday morning we have Kenny Omega, the cleaner, taking on the champion, Kazuchika Okada, in the third matchup of their famed rivalry. And, well, two of these four are going to meet Sunday to determine who's going to face the champion at the Tokyo Dome, barring any other defeats this year in defenses of the briefcase. But who do you think is going to be in the final? If you had to call it right now, who do you see wrestling on Sunday for the G1 briefcase?
Who do I see is gonna, not who do I want, right?
Yeah, let's start with who do you think is gonna win these matches?
I think it's going to be Omega and Tanahashi.
Tanahashi?
Yep.
Interesting pick. So why Tanahashi?
As much as I want Naito to win, I know that go Ace, Tanahashi is that guy, and well, he did put people over like Zack Sabre Jr. He actually made him tap out that first match, that first night actually. I just don't see Tanahashi losing this. I just see him being protected in this match, and he's going to go to the finals.
Well, that's interesting. So then you've got Tanahashi and you said Omega, right, in the final?
Yeah, I think Omega's gonna pin Okada. I think this is the match where he's gonna get so cocky. He's gonna be like, "Oh, I've done this twice with you already. I'm not gonna take you seriously," and Omega's gonna pin him.
Interesting for sure. So, all right, give me a call then. Tanahashi versus Omega. Who is going to win the G1 Climax this year?
Kenny Omega. Repeat.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. So the first Gaijin is going to repeat. Wow. That would be impressive. No doubt about it. I'm not sure how I feel about that. So if Omega does win, do you think he carries the briefcase into the Dome?
Yes, I do.
You do?
I think that's what it's all leading up to.
I see. Well, yeah, I mean, like we've talked about in the past, the money is there. That's the rivalry right now that they've been building for over a year now. Are you at all disappointed? Because I know I am a bit, that they don't have any other... Like, we just spent so long talking about how all of these younger guys got big wins in this tournament. All of these fresh faces. Are you a little disappointed that it's come down to these four? Tanahashi, Naito, Omega, Okada?
Yes, I am. I figured the G1 would be the perfect, way to get someone else into this main event picture, or give someone else a chance to to win the G1, have that opportunity. Someone like a Michael Elgin or Evil, Juice Robinson, that's what I was expecting, actually, and that's what I was hoping. And for it to be these four guys, regardless of who I like out of those four, I was really hoping that it would have been at least one person different. If I had to choose, it would be Tanahashi. I would have Evil instead of Tanahashi there. Right. Or,
something like that.
Regardless of the blocks, you know what I mean? But
yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure.
So, I'm a little disappointed that is those four guys again.
Yeah, as am I. And they had a really good opportunity to book Evil strong and even put him in the final. I would have really been intrigued by a matchup between Naito and Evil.
Yes, absolutely.
To determine who wins the G1. Especially, going with the whole idea that Evil beat Okada. That should be treated like a big deal, in my opinion. And him just going out and losing to Elgin the next, the few nights later. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, it's like that was a missed opportunity for me. I feel like there were actually a lot of missed opportunities in this G1. Although I will cut them some slack, because at the end of the day, when we're talking about Tanahashi versus Naito, and we're talking about Omega versus Okada, we're talking about two very long-term storylines and two long-term rivalries that the stories are completely different this time around. So it will be interesting in that sense, and it will be interesting to see if Omega can actually pin Okada in under 30 minutes, because I don't know if he's actually going to be able to do so. And with Suzuki and Okada going to a draw now, Omega has to beat Okada. Okada does not have to win. So if I've got to make a couple predictions, and I've been thinking all along, Naito Omega. I think the final for the G1 this year is Naito Okada, because
Really?
I don't think Omega is going to be able to pin Kazuchika Okada.
Wow. Not
And
be able to, huh?
yeah, I think it's going to be a time limit draw. I really
At
do.
30 minutes?
Yeah, I really do. And we discussed this on the previous mini, which you can go check out on our RSS feeds if you would like. I talked about how if New Japan continues to push Kenny Omega, in my opinion, it would be a mistake, because and not push him. I guess let him win the IWGP Championship. To me, that would be a mistake, because I think still in my heart of hearts, Kenny Omega's going to WWE at some point. And I don't want to see more of these guys continue to win the major championship in New Japan Pro Wrestling and then just leave, treating it like it's an indie promotion. I want New Japan Pro Wrestling to be respected, and I feel like Naito is the guy who is loyal to New Japan, and Naito is the guy who should be the one to dethrone Okada. That being said, I think Okada is going to win the G1 Climax this year. And that defies my original prediction, which was in my article. I originally predicted it was going to be Naito, but I think Okada beats Omega and then beats Naito in the final. Wow. And I think that at the Dome this year, he will end up having to challenge... I don't know. I think he's going to challenge Naito. I don't think he's going to challenge Omega. I think they created that U.S. title for a reason. And I think that...
Really?
At this point, yeah. I think at this point, Omega is never going to get his hands on the IWGP Championship. And I don't think he will ever get a victory over Kazuchika Okada. I just don't see it at this point.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm even shocked myself saying it, to be honest with you. Because all along, I mean, and I think a lot of people thought going into this, most of the predictions that I've seen, it's Tetsuya Naito. And as we get closer to the final, even though Okada has been beat to shit over the last week, he's lost to Evil in a war, and then he lost to Suzuki in a fight. I just see him, for some reason, being able to triumph over all of this. So, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a fun-filled weekend, action-packed weekend, and we hope you all enjoy it. The New Japan G1 Climax Finals. We got the A-Block Finals, Tanahashi versus Naito, coming up on Friday. Saturday morning, we have the long-awaited, I guess, matchup, even though the last one happened just at Dominion. Long-awaited matchup between Omega and Okada. And then, again, the G1 final this Sunday, live from Sumo Hall over in Ryogoku. It's going to be a ton of fun. And yeah, we hope you enjoy it. We will be back once again with another Ringside Mini. Monroe will be hosting this time, and it's going to be focused on the Mae Young Classic Tournament. Any idea when we're going to be doing that one?
I'm going to aim a week before they start to air, and I think they air either the 24th or the 28th, so a week before.
We're supposed to get like a bracket sometime soon, correct?
Yes, and I think that's on the 20th.
Cool. So yeah, keep a lookout for that. And Monroe, where can the fine folks find you on the social media?
I am on Twitter at E_of the S_ENT. And I also have a Rinky Dink YouTube page, and it is Eye of the Storm Entertainment.
She's very cool. This is a very cool YouTube page. You should all go check it out.
Yes,
Pronto.
sure.
And I am John Neve. You can find me on Twitter or Instagram at xjohnneve, JOHNNEAVE. And we are Ringside Geeks. You can find us on all the social media at Ringside Geeks. I hope I don't have to spell that one out for you. But yeah, thank you all for joining us. And again, enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the finals of the G1 Climax. And we will be back on our weekly program, Ringside Geeks on the Mothership, to discuss the happenings of the finals and look forward once again to Wrestle Kingdom. We're getting close, folks. So enjoy it and enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you soon. Say goodbye.
Everything is easy.